following is a special presentation of TNN Sports. The greatest show on dirt, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws, is a slugfest of speed where champions battle challengers in a nightly struggle for superiority. Just last month at the greatest show's grandest spectacle, the Knoxville Nationals, young upstart Johnny Schatz dominated until a minor mistake allowed Mark Kinzer to take his second Knoxville crown. The body language told the tale, but it was more evidence that the old guard cannot let down its guard. No longer is the World of Outlaws trail a fast guy fraternity, the exclusive property of high-velocity veterans who have cemented their larger-than-life reputations on close quarters combat and wide-open throttles. While they may be the current rulers of the roost, their royal ranking also makes them prime targets for an insurrection. Now there is a growing cadre of up-and-comers who have shown the establishment that they have the speed and the need to join the exclusive echelon. And tonight, reputations both new and old will confront the challenge of I-80 Speedway and the Circuit City Shootout. If you like your racetracks, BWB, big, wide, and banked, you're going to love the action from I-80 Speedway, about 28 miles west of Omaha, home tonight to the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Series. However, if you like your racing weather warm and toasty, be glad you're home watching the Circuit City Shootout here on TNN Sports. It is darn right chilly in these grandstands. Now, this is the third night of a three-night affair. Let's bring you up to date on the action from Thursday and Friday night. Thursday night, an evening that man, Jeff Shepard, the 4J car from Maryland, will never forget. You see, it was Thursday night in the A feature that Jeff won his first ever World of Outlaws title. Just a preliminary 20-lapper, but he'll take it after all those years of trying. So Jeff Shepard, the 4J car, takes the win on Thursday night. He said he couldn't sleep all night. He celebrated till the sun came up. But then on Friday, the jets cooled a little bit for Jeff. He struggled in his heat, finished only 5th. That put him in the B main, but boy, he was back big time and dominated the B to tag onto the back of the A feature. And again, in the A feature, he struggled just a little bit, didn't finish that well. Sammy Swindell, the blue Channel Lock #1 car, dominated as he did a year ago on Friday night. Nobody could catch Sammy, including Steve Kinzer in the Quaker State green machine right there, the #11 car, tried desperately but couldn't beat Sammy. He got it Friday night into the winner's circle with his young son, Kevin. Kevin appears to have an eye for the trophy girl, Sammy. Could be watching that lad. Okay, here's the event points. Okay, the top 10 from Thursday and Friday. Danny Lasowski, Donnie Schott, Steve Kinzer, Mark Kinzer. The asterisk means they bypass the qualifying races to come, go directly to the Channel Lock Dash. Let's also have a look at tonight's format. Pretty simple, straightforward. 4 heats, 8 laps each. Top 4 move on. Then the Channel Lock Dash, a B feature, the top 4 transfer to the A, and a huge 30-lap A feature with 24 cars. Speaking of the jet, let's go down to the man himself with Bobby Jarrell.
Well, Steve, Jeff Shepard has won 6 races on the Gum Out Series this year with the World of Outlaws, but Thursday night was the first time he'd ever found victory lane with the big Pennzoil World of Outlaws Series. And Jeff, I know that had to feel good Thursday, struggled a little bit last night, and so you will have to run a heat race tonight. And let's just tell the folks at home how important that second heat race is going to be tonight.
Well, I'd have to say that second heat race is going to be tough because Sammy starts right behind me and Hodden starts beside me, and they both want my spot. So, you know, if we don't win the heat race, those guys, if one of those guys wins, it's going to benefit them a whole bunch. But if we don't win it, we're going to lose 3 or 4 spots, but we want to win it because every spot counts for sure.
Jeff Shepard, 29 years old, one of the young Chargers here. Dave Argabright, the associate editor of Open Wheel magazine, is standing by with one of the wily veterans that Jeff just spoke of.
Thank you, Bobby. You know, Sammy Swindell looked very, very good last night, but because of Thursday night's setback, if he does not win that heat race, the best he can start is, I think, 14th, isn't it, Sammy? Does that put a lot of emphasis on that heat race right now?
Well, it means a lot. You know, that's about 3 rows there anyway, and you know, hopefully we can get this channel lock car right through. It's been fast when it's been running, and you know, we started on the 2nd row there last night and won, so we got almost the same spot again tonight. So hopefully we can get through there on the start and you know, get that win, get us starting up there in the 8th spot or so.
Well, and we wish you good luck. Speaking of good luck, Sammy's son Kevin put this little green alligator in the cockpit for Friday night's racing. Made a big difference, they say. He says anyway, and they ran all the way to first. Steve Evans?
Gator power. I am Steve Evans. I atop this racetrack in the booth with Brad Doty. Our buddy Ralph Shaheen, well, he's in Dover, Delaware for tomorrow's MBNA.com 400 Winston Cup race. You'll see that on TNN Sports. The word parity may be overused a bit in sports, Brad, but it fits this 2000 season. 17 drivers have won an Outlaw feature. That's a record of all time.
Well, it really is, and these young guys are putting the pressure on. But, you know, like, it's so competitive. There's Sammy struggled the first night, won last night. That's the thing about the series this year. Nobody's really dominating, and they're spreading their wins around, and young guys are pressuring these guys.
Well, there's the A features. Preliminary features can be important at the end of the year as well, and there's drivers that have scored those. Sammy Swindell, an amazing 7. Let's talk about the weather a bit. It's chilly. Wind chill in the mid-30s. How does that affect these engines, the crew chiefs, the racetrack?
Well, it's really going to make the engines run really well. It's going to be some fast times tonight. You know, we as humans, if it's a hot, muggy day, you're mowing the yard or trying to run, you can't breathe as well. These engines need a lot of air to run. The air's cool tonight. These engines should be flying.
He called me human. Thank you, Brad. Okay, let's take a look at the series points with only about 10 races to go. And Steve Kinzer, as you'll soon see, is on top. Well, first of all, let's start with number 10, way in the back. And that would be Jack Houdenchild with 2 feature wins, a little over $165,000 in prize money. Johnny Herrera won the first race of the season, hasn't seen the winner's circle since. He's in the 9th spot with $73.65. Andy Hillenberg, 2 feature wins, $160 grand in prize money. The man in black in the 8th spot. Just ahead of him, Dale Blaney, who of course won the Kings Royal this year with $50,000 to payday. He's in the 7th spot, 2 feature wins, his first 2 of his career actually. Joey Saldana, well, he's got 3 feature wins and occupies that number 6 spot. Just ahead of him is Stevie Smith, that coilover car from Pennsylvania. He's got 4 feature wins, about 3 less than he had last year at this time. Number 4 is Danny Lasowski. Started out strong, faded in the middle, but Danny's back with a couple of wins, and in that 4th spot, chasing this man, Sammy Swindell, for 3rd. Sammy has 8 A features and 8 preliminaries. That's got him there. Mark Kinzer's just about given up hope of catching his cousin Steve, who is on top with 8 feature victories, even though Mark Kinzer has 11. We will be right back with the qualifying races. TNN's exclusive coverage of the Circuit City Shootout is brought to you by Mopar, parts for Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles from the dealerships that sell and install them. And by Luxair, the official heating and air conditioning supplier to the world of Outlaws. And Lord knows we could use some of the heating from Luxair here tonight. It is chilly, but still thousands of fans have turned out the hardy Cornhuskers to just about fill this I-80 Speedway. There's from our Circuit City aerial platform. See all the rigs lined up, look like little toy trucks and cars, Brad Doty.
Sure does look like a matchbox set down there in the infield.
All right, let's go into heat number 1 here on TNN Sports. Take a look at the grid right off the bat. We're going to see Danny Wood, one of the most popular drivers ever on the Outlaw Tour, and only his first season, a 40-something rookie, and that is the 21W car. He keeps them laughing. No one's having more fun than the man from Norman, Oklahoma. All he wants to do now is win.
He's just glad to be out here racing. It's something that's been a dream of his for quite some time, Steve.
Joe Saldana alongside him, Paul McMahon as we move through the field, Shane Stewart, Dennis Moore, Terry McCarl, Bob Bennett, and Kevin Clues. The 15X car has been scrapped. Let's go down to Bobby Gerald quickly.
Steve, Joey Saldana is coming off a great West Coast swing. He swept the weekend on September 8th and 9th by winning at King Speedway at Hanford, also on the small track at Watsonville. He has really been going well. Also won another race, Dave Argabright, in Yakima, Washington. So Joey Saldana, since Knoxville, 3 A feature wins.
Well, Bobby, another driver hot in the Gumout Series has been Paul McMahon in the U2. He's recently won at Williams Grove, I-55, and Tri-City. Still seeking to improve his best finish in the World of Outlaws A Series of 3rd. So tonight he wants to try to break through and win that first race.
If this is your first look at the Benzo World of Outlaws sprint cars, are 1,000 pounds, 800 horsepower, absolute rocket ships and very short wheelbase, very difficult to drive. No transmission, just pure power.
Boy, and Joey Saldana was a rocket ship when that started. The Charlie Fisher engines, they've done some experimenting all year. I talked to Joe Saldana, Joey's dad. They had some engine trouble. They got it figured out. That's, like I said, 3 out of 5 on the West Coast. Wow.
And there's the battle for 3rd and 4th. That is Dan Trout and Paul McMahon. Remember, you want to be 4th or better to go directly to the A feature. The track looks superb, Brad.
It really is. It's cool air. The wind's been blowing like crazy today. But right now, the track's good. It's a little greasy on top, and that's going to get stickier as the race goes on.
You were on board with Danny Wood, the 21W car, the former oil field worker from Norman, Oklahoma.
That's Saldana in front of him. You know, it's interesting. Balderson Dodge in Zanesville, Ohio, close to where I live, has sponsored Joey since he drove the Mopar car 4 or 5 years ago. They stuck with him, been a sponsor with him, and he's got 3 World of Outlaw wins.
Here's third and fourth, and that hasn't changed. Dan Drought and Paul McMahon still fight for that final transfer spot. The U car coming up on him.
Yeah, you can see Drought got up a little high there, Steve. Got in that little bit of grease. Back there, though.
Well, McMahon is not getting a lot of pressure, really, from behind. He doesn't know that, however. There's no rear view mirrors, no pit boards. You're on your own.
You just run as fast as you can go, Steve. Almost wide open if there's nobody in front of you. Your car's set up right. These guys won't lift. They let the wing push the left rear of the corner down. It helps turn the car entering the corner. Also gives us the bite off the corner. But, boy, Joey's fast right there. He's coming up final lap, coming up on a lap car.
And Danny Wood, we can see with the onboard, he was trying to plant that right rear just right on the edge of the cushion. You see him do it right there.
Just a little bit of moisture there yet. You can't get too high, though. They'll get in the greases. Just
we left off on the western swing. That western swing was terrific for a few drivers and disastrous for some others. Even the king, Steve Kinzer, failed to finish in the top 10 in a couple of outings, and that's been highly unusual for him this year. That's for sure.
lap the next, and it's just it's a struggle every night. You can't give up. You can't let up.
It certainly keeps the crowd interested. You go through this race car: Joey Saldana, Danny Wood, Danny Drought Jr., Paul McMahon, the top 4. Jim Carter, the 14C car, will be going to the B. I'll tell you what, it is cold out there. A lot of these people just came from the Nebraska-Iowa football game, where Nebraska failed to beat the spread, I'm happy to say. You know, coming up tomorrow on TNN, the Winston Cup drivers will get their chance to tame the Monster Mile in the MBNA.com 400. This is one monster that eats up a lot of sheet metal. See her survives tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, right here on TNN. Okay, we will be back. A lot of jackets and sweatshirts being sold here tonight in the souvenir stands. Qualifying heat number 2 coming your way when we come back. Welcome back, everybody, to I-80 Speedway outside of Omaha, Nebraska. You're in store for a real treat tonight as the season starts to wind down on the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Tour. The Circuit City Shootout. If you just joined us, not to worry. Only one qualifying race is down. We still got 3 more of those to go, and then the Dash and the B and the A and a big night of racing. Right now, let's go down to Bobby Jarrell.
The winner of heat race number 1, Joey Saldana. And Joey, how's the racetrack out there? It looks a little narrow yet.
Well, it's so cold right now, and we're usually not used to running in Lincoln, Nebraska when it's 30, 40 degrees, so the tracks right now is real greasy, and I knew starting on the outside I was going to have to get a jump, so because passing's pretty tough right now. Maybe by feature time it'll get wider. We can run 2 grooves, but we're just trying to put a good run in for National Roadside Assistance and Himsall, because our mechanic got a heart attack this week, and he's back tonight, so we're just trying to do a good job for him, and we realize how much you miss him when someone like that, important like that's gone. The last 2 nights we struggled a bit, so it's nice to have him back tonight.
Joey Saldana talking about Mike Thurman, his crew chief, who suffered a heart attack, a mild heart attack, earlier this week. He's been released and is back today at the racetrack for the first time.
And we wish Mike well. Let's take a look at the grid for heat number 2. Again, 4 cars will transfer out. Jeff Shepard, the man we've been talking a lot about, he told you how important it is for him to win this heat. Greg Hodge has had a whole lot of top 10 finishes this year, just still looking for a few more wins. Sammy Swindella's in this one. You know how important the heat is to him. And Mika Schlillman from North Dakota. That's a new name to me. Now, we're happy tonight to welcome back the driver of the 6-car, Brooke Tatnall, because this was the scene at Eldora earlier this year. He and Craig Delansky, a horrible accident that has left Brooke on the sideline, trying to recover, trying to come back. The driver from Australia who sacrificed virtually everything he had at home to race in the States. And here we go. Brooke, good luck to you, buddy. Hey, how about that 6-car in the 3rd slot? Greg Hodnick, Jeff Shepard. That Shepard and Hodnick side by side, Brad.
What Hodnick, man, oh man, he just got on the outside of Shepard, then turned it and drove right by him. But Hodnick's luck's been terrible this season. They've had blown engines and flat tires and things that just don't normally happen. reliability problems that of strange things. And boy, right now they're fast, but they just have to change their luck somehow.
Well, V car run by Jimmy Vassar and his right next year. Maybe he'll get in the sprint car. Jeff Shepard, how about Tatnall? A lot of fans here. Sammy Swindell is struggling back in the fourth.
Last night it was a black glazed over slick up to a nice big cushion. Tonight it's a greasy slick. It takes a whole different chassis setup, different tire stagger, different compound of tires. They got to work on that thing.
There's your leader, Greg Hodnett, followed by Jeff Shepard, the man who won Thursday night. There's Sammy back in fourth, and in between was Brooke Tatnall.
That's a good shot of how much wider the track is getting. Joey Saldana said it's a little narrow in his first heat race, especially coming off the corners. They're starting to slide higher and higher and get that moisture pushed up, that grease.
Okay, here's Shepard and Tatnall. That's the battle for second. The white car is Shepard. The orangish red car, that's Brooke Tatnall.
It's nice to see Tatnall back running this well. He's still really stiff and sore, though, Steve. Some question whether he should be back in a race car right now. But I tell you, from a driver's standpoint, when you're sitting out watching somebody else in your race car, it drives you crazy, and you just want to get back in there. You always feel like, I'm tough enough, I can do it. It won't slow me down.
Well, you can tell when he sees those people who are around him, he tries to walk upright and look healthy. But, man, when there's nobody watching, he's in. Right now, he's feeling pretty good because with the third place slot, he's going directly to the A feature. Greg Hodnett, of course, wins it. Jeff Shepard having a terrific weekend. The second in heat number 2 as we look down again from our Circuit City platform camera attached to a helicopter. There's 2 helicopters, one for onboards and one for that. And there's the results of heat number 2. Sammy Swindell picks up the final transfer spot. Randy Hannigan, the Hurricane 1X car, just does miss it. Oh, yeah. Okay, you know, we asked some of the drivers how they would approach the end of this season with only 10 races remaining, and Jeff Shepard was one of them.
We've kind of made up our mind for the rest of the season to try to win more than anything, and then you know, we're kind of caught up in the point system ourselves in that gum out deal, and we're second place in that deal. And if we concentrate on winning, I think it's going to be a lot better than trying to worry about, you know, who beat who or who did this or who did that. If you win every race, there's no question.
Welcome back, everyone, to I-80 Speedway in Greenwood, Nebraska, a very tiny little village kind of between Lincoln and Omaha. And we are getting ready for heat number 3. Now, as we were away, Brooke Tatnall, we talked about the engine Australian. This is how much pain the guy is in trying to get out of this car, Brad.
Boy, look how gingerly he's moving yet. Just slow. Can be a lot of stiffness and soreness in that neck and shoulders yet.
Okay, Dave Argabright.
Well, Greg Hodnett feels quite good after that heat race. You got the working car right up front, but tell me, how quickly is that racetrack going to change?
I think the racetrack's eventually going to get push the cushion on up. The bottom of 3 and 4 is eventually going to come in because it's really wet, almost so wet you can't get down there. I think when the guys keep running on it, it's going to take probably till the B feature for it to really come in nice, but I think it's going to be really good. It's going to make for exciting racing.
Well, that's maybe the night where they chase the setup a little bit, Steve Evans.
Hey, no one said it was going to be easy. If it was, I'd do it. Here we go with heat number 3, and a young man from California, soft-spoken Brad Furr in the 2F car. He is going to be on the pole, and Andy Hillenberg, the hard-driving Okie from Broken Arrow, the 2 car. He'll be outside him. Nice fielder. Jack Houdenschau, Randy Kinzer, another one of the mini Kinzers. Darren Pittman won his first race on the Western Swing. Has pushed his earnings to over $100,000. And a young lady, the 1A car, outside the 5th row. That is Christy Passmore, from Oklahoma. Graduated from high school this past June. Bobby Gerald?
Well, Brad Furr, of course, one of those young guns, and it's still right now, he's banking on those 2 third-place finishes at the Eldora Speedway as his brightest moments behind the wheel of a sprint car, and a couple of third-place runs at the Kings Royal and Big One. Brad Doty, not a bad thing to put on your resume. He's hoping that tonight he could possibly break through with a win.
Not a bad way to boost that confidence level in.
And here we are on board with Darren Pittman. And already you can see he's getting some of that wet dirt the drivers were talking about. And we'll go for a tear-up, I'm sure, on that helmet.
Yep, got them on the camera. The drivers have them on their helmets also. Peel one off and have a clear view again.
All right, this is 8 laps again. Brad Furr jumps out in front. Hillenberg right behind him. Then Myers, then Haudenschild. Brad Furr from Pleasanton, California. And boy, he's got a huge lead.
Yep. Again, Brad Furr we talked about, and also Jason Myers in the 14 running there in the 3rd spot. These guys running the Gum Out Series, it has given them a confidence level that we just talked about earlier. I mean, they're running out there, they're learning how to race, they're learning different racetrack setups, how to adapt their driving style to different racetracks. So when they come to this Pennzoil World of Outlaws Series, their confidence level's high, and it shows because they're really running well.
And finally, there's a real organized system for graduating to this level, much like there's been in baseball for many, many years. You look at the 14 car there with Jason Myers, 14M actually.
I'll tell you, Steve, as a young driver on the World of Outlaws trail, it can beat you up mentally so bad because you go so long without winning a race, or heck, maybe not even running the top 10. But your confidence level really gets down.
That was Randy Kinzer trying to come up right behind. You see how sideways he's getting behind Darren Pittman. A unique machine to drive. The Pennzoil World of Outlaws Sprinter on dirt. It's almost opposite, like flying a helicopter. Sometimes you turn right to go left.
They are an awesome machine, Steve, and you're right. You steer it with the gas pedal and the rear tires more than you do the front wheels a lot of times.
And those wings, we've said before, are adjustable, cockpit adjustable. They can slide them forward or back depending on track conditions. This is heat number 3 if you've just joined us. And so far, it has been incident-free the entire evening.
Down the back straightaway, as a driver, you don't know where every second place is. There's Hodenshield, but you didn't know where second is, so you just run as straight and as hard as you can.
Whoa! Has Hodenshield stopped before the checkered flag?
Nope, that's the 5. Yeah, that's Jeff Patrician there. That's out of turn 4, and the checker was already out, so this one's over.
It is indeed. The checker's out in the yellow for the car that's stranded on the racetrack. Whoa, for a second there it looked like Hodenshield because we'd just come off of that shot. So, Brad Furr wins it. Hillenberg is 2nd, Myers is 3rd, Jack Hodenshield is in the 4th position, the final transfer. And Darren Pittman, who carried our camera, we thank him for it, but he just did miss it. You know, coming up Sunday night on TNN, you'll see a ton, and I mean ton, of fury unleashed, and the rider experiences the longest 8 seconds in sports. It's PBR Championship Bull Riding, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN. It hurts just to watch it. Okay, with 3 of 4 heats in the books, we're going to take a quick break. Huge crowd in the cold here at I-80 Speedway. They're coming back to the stands. You come back to the tube. We've got more wheel standing action from I-80 Speedway and the Pennzoil World of Outlaws here on TNN Sports. Welcome back, everybody, to the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Series, the greatest show on dirt. Tonight from Omaha, Nebraska, I-80 Speedway. We were just talking about Brad Furr. We saw him win qualifying heat number 3. Let's take a look at his action Thursday and Friday nights. Still yet to win his first Woo race. This is actually just Friday night. In heat number 3, talking about getting some great experience. It is Furr battling with the king of the Outlaws, the Quaker State car of Steve Kinzer. Then in the dash, hey, if you can fight with Kinzer, why not battle with the number 1 car? It's Sammy Swindell. That's what Brad was talking about earlier. A chance for these guys to get great experience. And in the A feature, the 2F car again running very, very strong. Hey, Bobby, there's the man himself.
There he is. There's Brad Furr. And Brad, tell me now, you're 8 months into this season with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. How much more comfortable are you now than you were at the beginning of the year?
We're a ton more comfortable, really. All this experience being out on the road has really done good for me. It's, you know, it's the longest I've ever been out of California racing, and my guys have they've learned faster than I have, really, you know, and so it's really been good.
They've been getting faster and faster, and let me tell you guys, they came prepared tonight. The Brad Furr beanies are out in full force, and it is a little chilly, guys, so if you don't mind, I think I'm going to be donning this for the rest of the night.
Oh, I tell you what, I'm surprised he didn't put it on earlier. Bobby wasn't feeling very good this afternoon and almost wasn't with us, but he's as tough as these drivers. He's not going to miss this. All right, here we go. The final qualifying heat. Randy Kinzer, one of the endless supply of Kinzers on the pole. Craig Delansky, Dale Blaney, Tim Schaefer. Ooh, Johnny Herrera, Brian Paulus, gamester there, the 28 car Brian Paulus.
Sure is. He's having a good year, really a good year, and run well at Knoxville and just really picking it up. And again, that confidence level's higher than it's ever been for him.
Travis Whitney, Bill Robertson, Brent Antle, Don Oswald. We've got 8 cars in heat number 4, and on board the Biberin car.
There's another Tim Schaefer had probably his best weekend ever at Chico. He won the preliminary and finished 2nd in the final and almost won it. So I think that was his best weekend ever, and they're starting to come together.
And another on board with Johnny Herrera. I said earlier, when the very first night of the year and thought, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be the champ.
Yeah, when you win the first night, yeah, this is going to be a great season. They have struggled at times.
Hasn't seen a checkered flag since, except in a heat race. Dave Argabright.
Well, you know, they talked about the Gum Out Series, Steve, as a graduating type series where you feed into the World of Outlaws. I think Craig Delansky is ready for commencement. Since we saw him at the Knoxville Nationals, he ran on a tear and ran, won 4 straight Gum Out races. This guy is on a roll and doing very well right now.
Yep, he is indeed. This is the final of our heat races. On board again with Schaefer, the Vibrant car for the start of the race.
That was a good shot, Steve, with the acceleration of these cars. The way they, on dirt with a little bit of moisture in the track, and there's obviously some wheel spin, but you show how they launch off the start there, the white line.
And when a track is still, well, kind of a little bit green and untested, you don't know whether to try to hug the bottom, the shortest distance between the finish line, or to go up high and try to carry the speed, as we see right there with Dale Blaney.
Boy, the last corner, though, was where Blaney really went to the high side and up in the grease and almost got by Herrera. Then he actually tried to squeeze him down a little bit, going into one, but he still, Dale did, still slid high and got up in that grease, and Johnny was able to beat him off at turn 2.
But Herrera still is running in the 5th spot. Now he's moved up to 4th. Blaney pushed back to 5th. The leader is Stevie Smith, Tim Schaefer, Craig Delansky, Johnny Herrera. Those are your 4 cars with the potential to qualify.
Yeah,
the transfer.
Delansky started outside front row on that front row and be back to 3rd like this to see Stevie Smith and Schaefer pulling away. Now Herrera battling. They're missing a little bit on that car, whether it's gearing or tire stagger. It's hard to tell at this time, but if he gets back, he'll talk to the crew chief, and they'll obviously try to get that thing a little faster for the main event.
So there is the 7 car. That's a 3rd car, Craig Delansky. We're just going side by side with.
Gentlemen, he just left enough room there to let Craig go back on the outside. Oh, and Craig squeezed him a little bit going into 3. Luckily, that moisture on the bottom starting to work in a little bit. That could have been bad, as Johnny Herrera might have hit that moisture and slid right up into Craig, as there he's got the line.
This is a great race and a lot at stake here. The winner of this little independent battle is going to go directly to the feature. The loser will be in 5th spot and will not.
Well, actually, that was 4th.
Yep.
4th. So there's Craig's still okay. The battle right there is for 5th.
Dale Blaney, the Amoco car. That's the car that is back in 5th right now. You see the big Amoco logo on the wing as it sweeps through turn number 4. The checkered flag is out for Stevie Smith, Tim Schaefer, Johnny Herrera. And I guess Delansky, yes, is going to get that 4th spot. Brian Paulus comes up just a little bit short. Dale Blaney's going to be really disappointed to not transfer here, Brad.
Yeah, he started a little bit far back, and again, these cars are so tough, and especially in a short heat race like this, not a lot of time to pass.
And there is Johnny Herrera idling around, I hope satisfied with his 3rd place finish. Stevie Smith, Tim Schaefer, Johnny Herrera, Craig Delansky, as we said, Brian Paulus just doesn't quite get it done. But he'll go to the B and still have a shot if he'll be in the top for the B of moving into that A feature. The B is kind of a last chance, if you would.
It is a last chance, and it's going to be pretty tough already. There, you know, a lot of good cars out of these heat races are going to be into that B main.
One thing we can say about this racetrack, it is extremely smooth, not a bump in the surface. And look at all that red. Those are those Nebraska fans today that just pummeled Iowa, not by 44 points as they were favored. Thank God.
This is unbelievable, this crowd, for as cold as it is. I mean, this place is packed.
A crew immediately goes to work on the 20 car of Johnny Herrera. Will have just a few minutes to turn it around and prepare it for more action to come. You see the Goodyear tires on that machine. Well, the car just pushing out, that was Steve Kinzer, who's going to win this championship, whether anybody likes it or not, is on Hoosier tires. It'll be the first time Hoosier's ever won the series championship. Goodyear has won it every year since its inception. Dave Argabright?
Well, Stevie Smith catching his breath a little bit. Now tell me, how much will you have to adjust this race car for that dash that's coming up in not very long?
Well, the track's changing. It's getting a little drier in the middle, but we're not going to make too many changes because we're a little snug. So hopefully it'll come to us.
Now, you run a little bit different suspension than everybody else. Does that help you with the coilover tonight?
Well, I don't know. We've been struggling, so I don't think it's a big advantage or disadvantage. But, tonight it's definitely not an advantage.
Well, now, that's an honest answer. That's what we always look for. Steve Evans?
Actually, they have already built 2 new cars for next year. One is a full coilover. The other is a bar car, torsion bars in the back, and coilovers in the front. We appreciate all of your banners, everybody. Kind of helps warm the place up, doesn't it? You know, Johnny Herrera got a third-place finish here, and I asked him yesterday afternoon that same question. How do you approach the tail end of the season, the next 10 races or so? Here's what Johnny had to say.
Just try to get some consistency down, something that we haven't had all year. You know, we just been up and down, and just no consistency. We're just, biggest thing is just trying to get consistent every night and try to, you know, get the car, keep it up in the top 10 every night, and, you know, get some wins and finish out the year.
Welcome back, everybody. Next on your program will be the Channel Lock Dash from I-80 Speedway, and Donnie Schatz, the popular young driver from North Dakota, will be in the dash. Let's take a look at how that young man, who happens to own a Freightliner, did in last night's action, as we're kind of featuring some of the younger drivers. The driver with the 15 car, well in his heat, which happened to be heat number 1. The other car looked pretty darn good and finished, transferred well to the A with a third-place feature. And on to the dash. The 15 car runs a very strong fourth right in the middle of the pack, and that got him a good position to start in the A, where he had a pretty okay night, gained some points with that 15 car, finishing in the 5th spot in the A feature. This was all last night's action with Donnie Schatz picking up that right front wheel. Donnie Schatz, by magic, is with Bobby Jarrell.
Yes, just the magic of television. Here's Donnie Schatz getting ready for the upcoming dash. And let's talk a little bit about a big change for your team recently, and that's a switch to J&J chassis. How's it been going?
I'll tell you what, it feels pretty good. It's something me and Kenny been talking about for a while here, and we're real excited about it. Things been working good. It's got us on the front row of the dash here this weekend, and we're working on the motor a little bit here. You know, Ron Shaver builds a great motor, but we just ain't got our feel quite right yet, so we'll keep working on it. Hopefully we can get us our win here.
Donnie Schatz was quick timer, though, here last night, right out of the box with that J&J. Dave?
Well, Bobby, Danny Wood, you're locked into the A main where you start 9th. What do you have to do to your race car from this point to be able to do something from the middle of the pack?
We're going to have to watch the racetrack. Hopefully that cushion will move up there a little bit, and so we can do some moving around on the racetrack and pass some cars. So hopefully we'll have the car set really pretty good where it won't be too tight or too loose, where we can move into a good position.
Is this still part of the rookie education?
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, you know, it's got to read it right. And if you don't, you know, you can look like a hero or you look like a zero, and that's part of the game out here.
Well, he's going to try to be a hero, Steve Evans.
He is already a hero to me and many of the fans that have watched this guy over 40 compete for the Rookie of the Year honors. Right now, here's a new feature in our Outlaw coverage, recorded earlier by Dave Argabright, the associate editor of Open Wheel magazine. And in fact, it is called the Open Wheel Power Minute.
There's a lot of talk these days in the Pennzoil World of Outlaws series about hoods and going back to the old standard one-piece hood, but it may not be as big a deal as we think. Carl Kinzer, you innovated the short curvy hood. When you came out with it, what were you looking for?
Well, I was just trying to steer the competition into making their car like mine, and if I could get them working on something that didn't matter, they wouldn't get any faster.
Now, you've told me you don't really think functionally there's any advantage to this hood, but what about this hood scoop at the top here? Does it draw more air into the engine?
No, I don't. I personally don't think it does a thing for it, because you got the nose wing right in front of it, so it blocks that opening. So I think it's just a thing that I like to do my own deal, and that's why I done it.
Could be much ado about nothing. For more on this topic, look at an upcoming issue of Open Wheel magazine. To subscribe, call 1-800-829-4343. Ask for the free trial subscription or the 1-year $11.97 special.
They do some good work there at Open Wheel magazine. Let's talk to you a little bit about something that's new with the race fans in mind here at I-80 Speedway. Tracking Speed, who has been doing the timing and scoring for the World of Outlaws, has come out with this traveling portable sign. It says, "Welcome TNN Motorsports" right now, but while the races are going, it will actually show you lap speeds, the positions that the drivers are running in. It makes it very easy for all of those fans up in the stands to keep a good track on their favorite driver, know what kind of laps he's cutting, and just exactly what position he is in, Steve. It's just another view of expansion here for the World of Outlaws.
And it's nice. Doty got top billing there, but I think it's done because it's alphabetical. You know, check out the IHRA Summit Drag Racing Series Sunday night on TNN. You'll see the standard drag racing classes, plus the wild pro mods and the 200-mile-an-hour Nitro Harley motorcycles. That's a trip. It's IHRA Summit Drag Racing Sunday night at 10:30 Eastern and Pacific, right here on TNN. Okay, Mom's in work. Hey, I hope my wife sees that site. I could use a little bit warmer jacket. All right, we're going to come back. Hey, The action is all we need to heat this joint up at I-80 Speedway, and we've got the Channel Lock Dash on tap for you. We are back in the Cornhusker State of Nebraska I-80 Speedway, and next on our dance card will be the Channel Lock Dash. This will set the front 4 rows for the A feature to come. Only 6 laps with 8 cars and top cars, as we're just about to show you. And by the way, our cameraman in the back of that Dodge Ram pickup, that is Alan Ball, shooting his last Outlaw race of this year. He's not happy with that, but his wife Sandy is. There's Danny Lasowski on the pole, the 83 car. Stand up and take a bow, Danny. The Beef Packers car owned by Dennis Robb. Hey, yeah, thumbs up from the dude. And alongside will be from North Dakota, Donnie Schatz, the 15 car. J&J Chassis Shaver Motor. Moving back to the second row, how about this? Side by side will be Steve Kinzer, the king of the Outlaws, going for his 16th championship, over 400 feature wins. Alongside him is his cousin, Mark Kinzer, in the Mopar car. Goodyear tires for Mark. Hoosiers for Steve. Next row will be the 17 car of Joey Saldana. And alongside him, tagging this field, will be a guy who had a great heat race. That's how he got into the dash. The V12 car of the Vassar family, that is Greg Hodnett. And here is Brad Furr, 2F, who also earned his way to the dash with the heat victory. Garrity motored car with tires. And we have got right there Stevie Smith. You can see the coil over springs right on the front of that car, also on the back, unique in this field. How about it? What do you think, Brad?
It's a tough field. Again, the top 4 in this are from the high points coming into tonight, and the other 4 cars are the heat race winners of tonight. Well, I tell you, Danny Lasowski and Schatz on the front row, they're going to be hard to get past just 6 laps.
Down to Bobby Gerald.
Guys, keep an eye on the V12 of Greg Hodnett, who over the last 3 or 4 weeks has been just about as fast as any car out here on the tour. They led a preliminary night for 20 laps at Chico at the Gold Cup and should have won it, but had a U-joint break, and that ended up messing up really their whole weekend. Come Saturday night, though, he charged from 24th to 7th, so Hodnett is racing well.
And that is the Wortkin car, the orange machine or red, whatever it is, right there. Here we go. It's only 6 laps. If you're going to make a move in the back, you got to do it in a hurry.
Yeah, we talked about Greg Hodnett early. Just they had some ignition problems and was hurting some of their motors earlier this year, and hopefully they got that figured out.
So it's Danny Lasowski, the 83 car. And that one's coming back. The yellow comes out. They will form up very quickly again. Restart. The first yellow we have had all night long. Let's go down to Dave Argerich. What's the story here, Dave?
Well, you know, Steve, earlier this week, the first 2 nights, Goodyear tires won both features. But prior to that, Hoosier Tire had won 5 straight World of Outlaw points races. So they're looking to revenge that and get on that front row tonight, Steve.
Danny Lasowski maybe pushed back a row here, Brad?
Well, they're saying he jumped the start. Said he took off too early. Boy, and that really hurts you when you're on the front row of the dash. So on second place is outside front row, and Danny, they say, just started a little bit too early before they got to the white line.
And that puts on the pole Steve Kinzer. And let's remember, whoever wins the Channel Lock Dash does start indeed on the pole. Nobody taking any chances there.
Nice even start coming off the 4. That was a good shot. You could show it showed the guys running the very, very bottom and some running right around the top. Schatz goes in on the bottom and then moves up to the top trying to get a hold of that. Oh, and Joey Saldana.
Low. He's kind of taking a middle of the track approach here after being pushed back one. Now Danny coming down into the low end. That's the 83 car.
Well, right now, Steve, the track is so fast, the speed's so fast that the bottom is not really the fast way around, because you're entering the corner so fast it's hard to keep it tight down there on that moisture.
And the dude trying to put away Donnie Schatz here for the second slot can't quite do it.
That was kind of a shot there. Was, you know, able to just squeeze on by on the outside.
So due to a rare mistake on the start by Daniel Lasowski, Steve Kinzer inherits the pole in the Channel Lock Dash and is is flat running away with a great race out there. Schatz comes back on the dude.
Well, the dude's still trying to get by him on the bottom there. Schatz has been running second. They just, and Donnie went down and shut the door on Danny Lasowski. Squeezed him down there, then went back up to the top. Boy, look how far around it is around the top.
Yep, dramatically different lines there, but both productive.
Well, you can see as they got in the corner, as you see it there again, it looks like Lasowski, oh, and Schatz about gets the wall again there, just coming off the...
Oh, Steve Kinzer has won tonight's Channel Lock Dash. He will start on the pole for the A feature. Danny Lasowski just barely, and I mean barely, held onto the second spot, so he's still in the front row of the feature. Donnie Schatz, Mark Kinzer, Joey Saldana, Bradford, Greg Hodnett, Stevie Smith. That will be the starting order for the first 4 rows of the A feature. Well, I'll tell you, that was a great fight. Lasowski, you could just tell he was so mad at himself or the starter, who knows, that he just put on a heck of a battle. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. You know, when you start up front, you want to win this thing, think you might be on the pole of the main event. You know, second row is not so bad, but I mean, these guys are so tough and so competitive, Steve. We've talked about so many times that, you know, World of Outlaw races are, it's very important to be on the front row, because if you don't get tied up in traffic, it's your race to lose from up there.
Okay, the results are now official as they look at the tires on the Lasowski's car. That's the first thing they look at on any car when it comes in. There you can see him. If you're a Steve Kinzer fan, you got to love it. Danny Lasowski, who a lot of people thought he might win the championship this year, especially after a great start. Not to be, fighting right now in the 4th spot on the Outlaw season-long points trail. Mark Kinzer in the 2nd spot right there, trying to defend last year's title. In fact, he told me yesterday the hardest thing is to settle right now for no better than 2nd spot. He said you got your mind attuned to that. Bobby Gerald.
Steve Kinzer getting the helmet off right now. He comes in leading the World of Outlaws point standings, looking for his 16th World of Outlaws championship. And Steve, a little swap there at the beginning benefited you very nicely, and then it looked like it was a clean run.
Well, actually, I think I was going to have the lead anyways, but come back out, car felt pretty good on the top or the bottom there, and 3 and 4. Never did try it in 1 and 2, but wasn't too bad. A little better than it was when it was hot lapping.
Lasowski was able to get by Schatz there for second, so he's going to be the guy proposing the challenge for you here in the feature event tonight at the start. How's the track?
Yeah, there'll be more than him, trust me. It won't be just Danny. The track's pretty nice right now. I don't know how long the bottom will hang in 3 and 4. Probably get right up on the top and run.
Steve Kinzer on his way to another World of Outlaws championship, guys.
And being very frank in his appraisal of what's to come. You're right, it will be a lot more than just Danny Lasowski. Okay, we got the B feature that often can bring the house down, and it is talent-laden tonight, including Dale Blaney on the pole. Stay with us for 12 laps of B feature racing just as soon as we come back.
The biggest news in motor oil since motor oil.
Let me show you something that really surprised me. Look what happened to the other leading motor oils after a 128-hour test designed to simulate severe driving conditions. But this is newly formulated Pennzoil with Pure Base after the same test. I'm no mechanic, but I know which one I'd rather put in my car. These, I don't even know what I'd do with these.
For protection so strong you can see the difference, get newly formulated Pennzoil with Pure Base.
Tom Green here at Muscle Beach with some big, tough weightlifters.
We're going to show how new Right Guard Extreme Sport works even under the most extreme conditions.
Back, stop! Uh-oh. Run! Oh, no, the kid is going to get you! He got you! Look, extreme protection against odor and wetness. Goes on clear and it doesn't quit. Kitty.
New Right Guard Extreme Sport. Get extreme. Get Right Guard.
Ouch.
Yeah! Show me the money, I'm telling you! Oh!
It's the age-old test of man against beast. Don't miss championship bull riding from Reno. Sunday night at 9 Eastern and Pacific on TNN.
In Washington, it matters which team you're on. For our next U.S. Senator, we need a mainstream conservative who has the same values and goals as George Bush and most Nebraskans. We need an effective advocate for less government, lower taxes, and stronger values. That person is Don Stenberg. Nebraska needs Don Stenberg on the Bush-Hagel team working for us in Washington. I hope you'll join me in supporting Don Stenberg for U.S. Senate.
Don Stenberg, U.S. Senate. The values to care, the courage to fight for Nebraska.
What time did you get your car loan? 10 p.m., 3 a.m.? At CarHop, you can get a car loan anytime, day or night, with our 24-hour loan hotline. Just call 877-908-LOAN toll-free or click on ecarhop.com anytime and apply for a car loan instantly. Even if you've been turned down or have bad credit, don't worry, because CarHop has fast and easy financing for just about anyone. So apply right now and drive your certified used car, truck, or van today. CarHop, cars and credit to go.
Well, here at I-80 Speedway, only 2 races remain. Here on TNN Sports, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws Series competition tonight. That is the B feature, which is really a consolation or a last chance, if you will. And, of course, the 30-lap A feature for all the money and all the points. And, Brad Doty, this B feature is loaded with talent.
It really is. The guys that didn't make it through the heat race are all in here, and it's a tough one.
If you have any kind of bad luck, this is the graveyard. This is where you end up. But you've got a chance to resurrect yourself if you finish in the top 4, and that's something Dale Blaney intends to do with that Amoco car. Well, they all want to do that for sure. Randy Hannigan back there in the outside of row number 3.
Yeah, just look at the people. There's Darren Pittman, who won a preliminary at Chico a couple weeks ago.
Last week.
Yeah, Brian Paulus. I mean, Shane Stewart. These guys, some good racers in here, and a long way to go to get up to the top 4.
Yep, and Larry Finnegan II will run anchor out of row number 8. And here's our onboard camera again with Darren Pittman. It's only 12 laps. And I repeat again, only 4 transfer. Dave Argenbright?
And we talked earlier about Brooke Tatnell. Well, Randy Kinzer was injured earlier this year in June at Bristol. He's told me tonight he still feels the effects and went through a lot of chiropractic work and all that. Plus, I got to say he's a nice guy. He loaned me some gloves because, man, my hands were freezing. Steve?
Yeah, we talked about Tatnell. Randy is really sore. Saw him today. He's another one walking pretty stiff.
Hang on. Coming around for a start of the big feature where absolutely anything can happen. Desperation has set in here for these drivers. And what a beautiful start. Dale Blaney got in that Amoco car. Great job for the 93 car.
Well, but Dean Jacobs actually had him feet get in the corner, went in a little bit off the cushion, got stuck in the middle, and Dale come back. But boy, Dean hauled that thing in there. I'm sure Dale's not real happy with that move, but I'd like to say real quick to Cody Jacobs, Dean's son, who broke his leg playing football the other day, and Dad's out here racing, and Cody's back to playing football. Oh, Dale Blaney in trouble there.
Dale Blaney bounces it off the wall. Somehow no contact is made. You wonder if that car's not been up a little bit as we go back on board with Darren Pittman. That was a shot.
Cautions out Jim Carter down in turn 2.
Yep, the 14C car.
Man, that was a hard hit when he lucky because it pulled the front end in also, and lucky he didn't flip that thing. Now it's going to be interesting to see if Dale get his spot back, because if they didn't run a complete yellow, he lost all these positions when he was up there in the wall. He might. What a lucky break for him if he gets to move back up there.
Is the car durable enough to take that kind of abuse?
It depends on if it hit the tire where it cushions the blow, or if it smacked the rim where it's a more of a solid hit. Would bend what they call the Jacobs ladder, which holds rear end centered in the car, things like that. But if he just a glancing blow with the rubber and not the rim, he might be okay.
Well, there is that 93 car, 4th in line there that you saw get into the wall right near the start-finish line. Boy, you think these guys want a transfer spot out of the beat? Take a look at this replay.
Right there it is. He just got over the cushion. Bam, hits it right there.
Oh.
Luckily, it didn't push the front axle back, bend the right front wheel.
I tell you, this looks more like the Baja than a sprint car race.
Well, again, everybody knowing this is it. There's Carter just losing it on the bottom. Looks like he just got on the gas a little too hard and looped it. Again, Steve, I've talked about it before. People think maybe with the wing on these guys, just put your foot in and run wide open all the time, and that's not it. They have to have a lot of finesse and a lot of control and a lot of patience on the throttle to not spin the tires and do what Jimmy did and loop the car.
And Jimmy had a nice starting position, the 14C car. He started in 4th. Of course, he's going to be pushed back now. Let's go down to Bobby Jarrell. Bobby, you still freezing?
Yeah, it's a little chilly down here, but we're tolerating it. Let me talk to you about Randy Hannigan real quick, Steve. We mentioned Brooke Tatnell's injury. We talked about Randy Kinzer's injury. Here's one of the more wacky ones. Randy Hannigan is racing with a fractured shoulder. He suffered this leaving the bikini contest at Chico's Gold Cup last week. He was running out trying to catch up with some friends, evidently hit a bumpy spot out in the dirt road and took a header. He said there was no red flag for him. He ended up at the hospital hospital all night long. He said it's been taking him about a half hour to get dressed. He suffered a separated shoulder and a hairline fracture in the shoulder, but here he is out here racing, guys.
I'll tell you, Bobby, there's so many good comeback lines on that story. I got warm blood flowing down my throat because I do want to keep my job. Broke his shoulder escaping from the bikini contest. Okay, well, let's go back to the big feature.
It's not all workout here, is it?
I guess not. Not for them anyway. Dean Jacobs is on the pole now. Randy Kenzer right behind him. Here we go up front. Jacobs, another brilliant start. A restart, actually.
Oh, Laney in the 52. Back in a hurry. He went from 4th to 2nd, a little over half a lap.
Yep, he sure did. In fact, he's actually 3rd, I think, right now. Dale Blaney, yeah.
Well, yeah, he's up to 2nd. That put him in 2nd.
Wow. That answers the question about whether that race car is...
Obviously, the car's not hurt too bad because he's coming forward.
On board again with Pedman, the Hemsaw.
Boy, and you can see Brian Paulson, that in-car cam, getting sideways down there. That's for the 4th spot, for the transfer spot.
Yep, between Kenzer and Paulus.
But he got loose there, and Darren Pittman's got to run on him on the outside.
This is for the transfer spot.
Wow, that's Paulus and Randy Kenzer right in front of him. Now, Paulus has it right there. Randy's got to run, but not enough to get back by Paulus. Boy, you can see the track starting to slick off. See, it's getting a little black and shiny. 3 and 4 is not too bad. It's a long way that cushion, but down in 1 and 2, you can see as we got a battle here for the lead. Dale Blaney on the inside trying to get up. Jacobs, the top runner. Oh, look at this. Man, I thought Laney was going to go over Brian Paulus's left rear tires. Now that's close racing. I don't think they touch, but that's as close as you can get without touching. Boy, in an open wheel car, you don't want to do that very often.
Do you think they want the transfer spot?
Absolutely.
Dale Blaney, that's the Mopar powered machine on the inside, challenging for the lead. The Chevrolet powered machine of Dean Jacobs.
That shows right there. I mean, it's a long way around that cushion. As Blaney right down here. If he gets, and Laney spins down in turn 2.
Well, I think our cameraman had a premonition on that one. He was absolutely right on the 52 car when he spun. And also, wide translates into forgiving.
Yeah, a lot of room to move around. But I'll tell you what, boy, oh boy, the Blaney really came in after that hit with the wall.
With 9 laps of 12 down, we're going to take a quick break as they get the 52 car off the racetrack and return to Chile, Nebraska. Welcome back, everybody. On board again. We're going to see some of the highlights of the first 9 laps, I guess, of the B feature, which is just about ready to restart. From the onboard camera earlier on, enjoy. All right, now here's the spin that brought out the yellow. It's a ballet.
Yep, Laney just got in. You could see the wing push the left rear corner down. He just got in there too hard, got the car out from under him, and you can't save it at that point.
No, but he sure was on the gas, trying not to stall it. All right, we will be back live, and there is Mr. Laney again, the 52 car. No harm, no foul. He just gets pushed back a few positions.
Yeah.
In fact, quite a few.
Clear to the tail.
Yep.
After running in a transfer spot.
3 laps remain. 3 laps, a mile and a half.
Dale showed him the bottom. I thought maybe Dean might go down to the bottom and just try to block, as he did going into 3, but boy, slid way up high. But he still got a nice run keeping Dale back there.
Yep, he really did.
Now, if he can get back around Dale coming off, which he has now, he just...
And Shane Stewart is in a battle for that transfer spot. He's currently 4th. Has come all the way up from 9th in just 10 laps. Not a bad job. You see the white flag is out. This is the last lap before we go to the A.
Yep, Dale looks like he's got him here, but Dean's fighting back on the out. I'm surprised Dean didn't go to the bottom and try to block him, but he just has to get a nice run, and can he hold him off?
Whoa, baby.
Our score showing that Dale nipped him right at the line, which is going to again, as a driver, you want to win everything, but that doesn't hurt them. They're going to start, they get their times back in the A anyway, so the top 4 transfers, it's pride at that point.
What an adventure the B feature was for that man in the Amoco car. I mean, he bounced it off the wall, had all 4 off the ground. Looked like it was in a Baja race, but he did on a smooth sprint car track. What a great job to come back and win the B feature.
And I can almost bet you after he's fell back there, he's thinking about the crew back there going to chew him out if he doesn't get a transfer spot after making a mistake like that.
You know, we have got more racing for you next Sunday here on TNN. The ASA drivers go to Indiana for 400 grueling laps at the famed Winchester Speedway. I've been there. That is one tough racetrack. It's the Winchester 400 next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern and Pacific right here on TNN. No lack of action at Winchester ever. I don't care what kind of cars they're running. All right, let's once again show you the pass for the lead as Dale Blaney fought back from imminent disaster to take the B feature and a spot in the A. Stay with us. That's all that's left. 30 laps of sprint car racing. Hi-ya. A little rock and roll. That's what we're doing in Nebraska tonight. The Pennzoil World of Outlaws at I-80 Speedway. Now, this is always that portion of the evening where the cars that transfer from the B, all 4 of them have to have a few minutes to get ready to plug into the A. And then we'll go out with 30 laps of racing for the big payday and the big points, Brad. That's what you look forward to, is the A feature, even though we've been racing for 3 days. This is it.
Absolutely. As you said, the big payday, too. These guys, they're professionals. This is how they make their living, and they're up there going to be fighting and scratching for every penny.
You know, we talk about the high price of gasoline these days. Everybody out there knows what I'm talking about. These cars burn menthanol, which can be made from virtually anything, from corn to garbage to, it is not a petroleum-based fuel, so we're not sucking any gas out of your station wagon. Let's go down to Dave Argabright with Dale Blaney.
Well, he's busy getting his visor ready. Dale, that was a heck of a race, but boy, you banged off the wall pretty hard. What happened?
I don't know. Just we was racing with Dean there pretty hard in there, and I don't know. She just kind of turned sideways on me up there, but kind of made it.
No damage. You're ready to go for the A?
Yeah, I don't feel too bad, so we'll change a couple things.
Well, they're busy flailing away on this race car.
Dale Blaney formerly played championship college basketball, even a little pro ball, scratch golfer, talented athlete. Bobby Gerald, who you got?
We're down here with a talented driver, and that is Mark Kinzer, the driver of the Mopar number 5M, starting outside second row in this feature event. How'd you run in the dash, and what do you think about your chances?
Well, we kept pace in the dash. We wasn't really in a position to make a pass, but we could keep pace. So we got the chief in there. He's making some tire adjustments and get that Mopar car in front.
You said you've got the chief in there making some tire adjustments. That's your dad, Carl. He's got his beanie on tonight even. And I heard you say earlier you had the Three Stooges working for you. Have they been keeping you in good spirits tonight?
Pretty well, you know. We got through California pretty well unscathed, and that's a rarity for us. So everybody's pretty happy in our crew right now, you know, and taking the cold weather at stride.
Mark Kinzer getting ready.
And if you like what you're seeing tonight, you've still got a few chances, depending on where you live around the country, to take in an Outlaw race live. Let's have a look. Lernerville Speedway, one of your favorites, Brad Doty, Sarver, Pennsylvania. Williams Grove Speedway, one of my favorites, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Lowe's Motor Speedway, wait till you get a load of that place in Concord, North Carolina. Route 66 Raceway, fabulous facility. Then Texas, the 12th and the 14th of October, another of the new facilities. Houston Raceway Park. Good.
Yeah, folks, look at the state. I mean, these guys were in California last week. Now they're in Nebraska. They're going to be at Lernerville on Tuesday. They got to drive all the way from here to be at Lernerville Tuesday, then Williams Grove, down to North Carolina, back and forth across the country 2 or 3 times a year.
That's right. We're going to be with them November the 1st at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Some of the best facilities of the year are in this last 10-race series. Unbelievable. And you know, you put about 100,000 miles a year on the transporter to run this series. Dave Argabright?
Well, Steve, we talked about the cushion. We talk about it a lot. Right here tonight, this is it right here. You see this ledge building up. If you look down here just a little bit, though, the track's getting black, taking rubber. That's going to change the characteristic of the track a lot. To me, watching that B, looked like the fastway was down here just a little bit, right about a car width and a half off. This kind of thing has got these guys in the pits scratching their heads because there's a lot of grooves, a lot of changes. You don't know what it's going to do. This is going to be interesting. Steve?
Indeed, it will be. Another one of the drivers I had a chance to talk to yesterday about the twilight of this season is the driver of the 19 car from Pennsylvania. That would be, of course, Stevie Smith. Here's what he had to say.
Basically, what we're trying to do is figure out exactly what we want for next season, and that's what we're working on. By the end of the season, we want to know what we want and what direction we're going.
We're back, and here's some interesting coverage of the preparation going on for the A feature. Our onboard cameras show you the Darren Pittman crew at work. Also, here's the Fibrin car with Tim Schaefer on board, Brad.
Well, that shot it showed that the folks here aren't the only ones wearing blankets. They put blankets over the hoods of these engines to help hold the heat in.
And Johnny Herrera, Hollywood Herrera, the number 20 car, Eagle Westmore Power. That's his onboard camera, and Danny Wood as well. He is probably going to be the Rookie of the Year, would be my guess. So all 4 of those cameras will soon be in action on the racetrack. Bobby Gerald?
Oh, will Danny Lasansky, the dude in car number 83. And Danny, we're just talking about all the things that you go through right before a feature event to work on your car. You guys recently have made a shock change on your car.
Yeah, we really did. We've been struggling as of late. Everyone knew about that. And we were trying to fine-tune our car. And Dave was great enough from Super Shocks to bring some shocks over here and try it. Sammy had a lot of success with it. And we're just trying it on this B-Packers 83 to try to get this thing to win some more races.
You going to be down there on the bottom?
I probably will a couple times, just see what's going on. I thought maybe in the dash we had a good place to start. We could win that dash on the pole, but the King got us, so we'll see what we can do it on the outside.
It's going to be a good race. Dave Argabright.
Well, Bobby here with Brooke Tat. Now, I got to tell you, man, watching you walk makes my back hurt. How you feeling?
We're not doing too bad. Each night gets a little sore, but we've been pretty lucky so far. I've just really got to thank the people with Casey's General Stores and Houseby Trucks, Kelly and Associates, and especially my car owner, Lonnie Parsons, and his wife, Sandy, for sticking by me and having me the faith to allow me to get back in the race car. And all the race fans have been really, really good to us with their well wishes. And I've really got to thank the Richard family, Mrs. Richard and Tom and Amy, for putting up with an angry race car driver whilst everyone else was out playing. I was laying on my back. So I've really just got to thank those people. We're getting there. Each lap gets harder.
Well, I'll tell you, they cut him no slack at all, Steve. He starts 18th tonight.
Oh, man, what a courageous guy. Missing all of the Olympic activities, hometown of Sydney. As they cut the tires and get ready to attack this racetrack, let me tell you that we have a very aggressive television schedule for you next year here on TNN. We're going to go to some new racetracks and back to some old favorites. And you can just kind of read down the list. Las Vegas, Houston in March, Texas Motor Speedway. Then we take a little break and go to Williams Grove. We'd love that place. Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte and Lernersville and Bristol. Oh, man, we're going back to Bristol. I can't wait when they put the dirt on the concrete half-off. Here's what we drove over to the other day on June 23rd, Eagle Raceway, which is only about 20 miles from right here, and it's a darling little racetrack. And in the second half of the season, yep, there's more races than there's ever been before. Knoxville. That's not the Knoxville Nationals. We're going there for an earlier race as well. Then Red River Valley Speedway in Fargo, like that place. Chicago, Joliet, Illinois. Then Eldora, of course, Knoxville Nationals. Eldora will be a little bit of a tape delay. That's why there's kind of a mark on it there. And then Texas, and again, finishing up as everything does at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And I've got to finish up this segment. When we come back, we're going to go racing as Danny Wood's crew puts the finishing touches on the front suspension of that machine. Stay with us. It's going to get, well, we're going to rumble. Wrenchhead.com, with millions of brand name auto parts and accessories to choose from, it's easy to prove that you're a wrench head. Are you a wrench head? Wrenchhead.com, parts online all the time. And I tell you, we're looking forward to the very last televised race of the 2000 Pezzo World of Outlaws schedule, and that'll be at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. And the show airs on November the 4th, which is a Saturday night at 9 o'clock. If you want to join us there, be there on November the 1st, because that's when that race actually runs on a Wednesday night as part of the annual SEMA Show celebration. And you can find Ralph Shaheen and Tony Stewart and myself rolling the dice at the Monte Carlo Hotel. Well, Tony will be rolling the dice. All right, here we go. The grid for the feature, the final race of the night. And guess who's on the pole? Oh, man, what a war. Steve Kinzer and Danny Lasansky, followed by Donnie Schatz and Mark Kinzer, Joey Saldana, and Brad Furr. Well, that's a great starting position for Furr. You got Hodden and Stevie Smith, Danny Wood looking for that Rookie of the Year, Jeff Shepard, who won here Thursday night, Andy Hillenberg, Craig Delansky. There is somebody to root for any persuasion here, old, young, male or female.
Absolutely. Just look at these names. They're all feature winners all over the country, have been for years. I mean, look at that. Hodenshield clear back in the 10th row. Dean Jacobs, Paul. I mean, these guys can win anywhere. And there's Randy Kinzer, Ronald Laney, both have taken gum out provisionals to start on the tail. What I find interesting about this, Steve, we alluded to it earlier, that Hoosier has won the last 5 races coming into this weekend.
Yep.
Well, then Goodyear won the first 2 preliminaries. Now we have the front row, both Hoosier guys. So the tire battle's still not won yet.
What a spectacular sight for the fans here at I-80. Fireworks all along the back straightaway as the Outlaws have formed up in their 4-abreast salute to this crowd, who with their gloved hands will try to take pictures that probably will never turn out. Oh, it is a photo op anytime this occurs, and it does be a feature at every Outlaw race.
I'll tell you, I was in the stands at Calistoga a couple weeks ago, Steve, and I very seldom am I in the stands for 4-abreast like this, and it literally gave me goosebumps. I mean, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. The crowd just loves this 4-abreast, and you can hear it and see it here. Just to be there and feel that electricity, that emotion from the fans, it's incredible.
You old softy, Donnie.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what.
I'm getting them right now, okay? Let's just not trigger any storms, because I'm telling you, we're lucky to have had our helicopters up tonight, because they are just right up against the ceiling. Bad weather had been predicted, and so far badly predicted. Dave Parker-Bright?
Well, you know, last night Jack Hodenshaw broke a drive line. Tonight, just a few minutes ago, there was a lot of hectic activity in his pits. They had a last-minute engine change. Don't like that on any night, especially that late in the evening like they had it. But I think they got it all together. When I asked Jack what happened, he gave the typical good old Hodenchild explanation. He just smiled and said, well, I blowed one up. Steve?
No, he said, I done blowed one up.
I'll tell you, just like they said in that clip earlier, nothing seems to rattle Jack Hodenshield. He just doesn't get excited about too much.
And it is pronounced Hodenshield, as in the windshield, because that child on the end, the wild child, a lot of people mispronounce it. Doesn't bother him. He didn't care.
Yeah.
As long as you buy a T-shirt.
He said, I'm even confused now.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with Steve Kinzer on the pole alongside Danny Lasowski. The A-feature I-80 Speedway, the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. It is Lasowski with the better start. The 83 Beefpackers car. Already. Oh, man. Brad Furr, who's having such a great night at the San Mina car, has spun out on the opening lap. So we'll have a complete restart.
Started in the 3rd row in 6th position. Now he'll have to go to the tail.
We've had, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, don't jinx anything.
We've had so few of you know what's. We count ourselves lucky tonight. On board again. Maybe we'll get a shot. Just what happens. That's Johnny Herrera carrying the car, or carrying the camper, rather.
That's right under the left rear part of the fuel tank, facing toward the back. Okay, we're going to get a replay here of Brad Furr. Oh, he's already turned around up there. Don't know if he got tapped. Oh, and I think that was Hodenshield. Just got by on the bottom from this angle. It sure didn't look like there was room to get through there.
You have to remember these cars are really direct drive, and there's no way to keep the motor running. You can't stick in the clutch. There is no clutch. And turn it around like you could with a stock car. Let's go down to Bobby Jarrell.
Steve, last night this track was very abrasive. Some of the hardest compound tires were used all the way up. Tonight that isn't the case. The track's not nearly as abrasive, but there is a little bit of a conversation about which compound the drivers should be using. In the front row, both on Hoosier, Steve Kinzer and Danny Lasowski. Kinzer has the harder compound of 15. Lasowski gambling maybe just a little bit, slightly on the soft side with that 12 compound Hoosier tire. So we'll see how that plays out.
Well, Brad Doty, who had a flat tire coming to the racetrack this afternoon, you learned a lot more about tires you wanted to know.
You know, that might explain why, we'll see if he does it again, why Lasowski got the jump. That little bit of a softer compound tire will get a bite a little bit quicker. Might take a lap or two for that harder compound that Kinzer has to get up to temperature and get a little softer, a little spongier, and grab the racetrack.
On board again, we were with Darren Pittman. Here we come. Let's see if Lasowski can duplicate that earlier start. I don't think the King's going to let that happen.
Well, no, I guess it wasn't the tire compound that why Lasowski got a jump. Steve Kinzer wasn't going to let it happen again. Oh, we got a spin down in turns 1 and 2. Darren Pittman.
Just over-eager on a lot of their cases, especially guys like Darren Pittman, young guys.
Sorry, Steve, but there's something laying on the racetrack. We're going to get it right to the left of him. That I can see right there. Oh, that's a piece of tire, so he must have a left rear flat.
Or somebody else does.
Yeah, or somebody else, but everybody else seems to be rolling around the racetrack. Oh, no, it's Brian Paulus. I see from up here, he's got a flat left rear.
Yep. Okay, it'll take him just a couple of minutes to get these cars off of the racetrack so we can do yet another restart of the A feature at I-80 Speedway. We'll have take 3 when we come back in 1. We are back at I-80 Speedway, and Darren Pittman, the number 3 car, he is the reason for the yellow that is out currently. Let's take another look in replay from his own onboard camera.
Okay, that's Brian Paulus right there in front of him, and yes, they do make contact. I wondered about that because Paulus had the flat left rear tire, and Pittman went in, hit him with the right front, it looks like. Flattened Paulus's tire. They do have it changed, and there he is.
0 laps have been completed in this A feature. This is take 3, and once again, they duke it out for the lead through turn 1 between Lasowski and Steve Kinzer. Lasowski on the outside. Kinzer.
Just went right up and shut the door on Lasowski. Danny with no place to go. There he goes to the bottom, though, trying to get back.
And classic Lasowski staying down on the bottom, at least through 3 and 4.
And there he goes by, but oh, Steve.
Whoa.
I'll tell you what, that's a gutsy move for Steve Kinzer. I mean, as you said earlier, he's all but got the championship locked up, but he still has to have that in the back of his mind, and that was a bold move. Had to take the lead back on the outside. There wasn't much room out there.
No, there wasn't. He may have the championship in this sack, but he'd like to pad that $324,000 in prize money he's already got.
Did you know that was a good shot of the draft that you actually get out of a sprint car, because coming off the corner, you saw Steve at the end of the straight just shoot up onto the back of the Danny Lasowski.
Not that Lasowski, huh? He came to play. Oh, what a show these two are putting on. I guarantee Ralph Shaheen, Tony Stewart, it's rumored that Tony Stewart and the dude will team up next year with an Outlaw car. It's more than a rumor, I think. They're going nuts at some motorhome or bar.
Oh, Kinzer just braked. Steve Kinzer.
I saw it. Now they're really going nuts.
Mark about ran over the back of him.
Mark Kinzer is there to pick up the pieces. If one Kinzer doesn't get you, another one might. Look at Steve, the frustration. Utter frustration.
Well, he's pointing to the back of the car. He's telling his crew. See, he wants a push truck. He wants to get back. He wants to get back to his pit as soon as possible. He thinks he can fix it, whatever it might be, but well, I don't know if it's a driveline problem or something. They obviously can't get that fixed in time, but
well, let's have another look. See if we can determine exactly what happened to the King. There he is.
Yeah, everything.
That's the 5M car. That's his cousin coming right up on him. The dude out in front. All of a sudden, it's over.
Yeah, and I saw some flame coming out of the headers, so it looked like the engine was still running. There you see some of the fire. So the engine's still running. It's almost like it jumped out of gear.
Well, there we see Steve Kinzer.
These things do shift in and out of gear in the rear end. They have a slide coupler. A lot of them cable actuated. Okay, what they're doing now looks like they're going to pull the rear cover off, but they changed the quick change gears in these cars, and they're hoping it's something yeah, there's the change gears. They think it might be a change gears in the rear end broke.
So you'd want to put exactly back in the same ratio you take out.
Yep.
This can be done so quickly. It takes hours to take the differential out of a passenger car. Another couple hours to put it back in, if you're me anyway.
Yeah, but these guys are allowed 2 laps. If people think, well, are they just waiting on Steve Kinzer? Everybody gets 2 laps under caution to try to fix what they can. But, boy, I don't know.
Well, it's just a great shot of how that quick change works. For any size racetrack, you can change the gearing that simple for a quarter mile up to a half mile or anything in the middle. It's been a device that sprint cars have virtually always had. I mean, these quick changes go way back.
Yeah, way back. They've, like everything else, they've lightened them up and fine-tuned them and things like that. But boy, all that oil that you see running out, they've got to replace that somehow. Which they do have a reservoir that that they can put the fluid back in, but they've got to get somebody doing that. They might take a chance and just push off if they have to and try to run it low on grease. But
Bobby Gerald.
Oh, we just stuck our head in the cockpit with Steve Kinzer. Said what happened. He said the quick change gears broke. So not exactly sure if something stripped out there or exactly what the situation is. Steve's barking out some instructions right now to Scott Gherkin and members of his crew. So that's where we're at right now.
You know, he'd been driving this car so hard, Brad, and there was one point where right around here, he comes up there, stands on the throttle. That's hard on driveline parts. When you get up in that cushion, puts a lot of strain on them.
Yeah, but these cars and the gears and things, I mean, they're used to that. I mean, they've got them to where they should withstand that, but when they say they break, it's gears with teeth on it, and it just shears the teeth right off of them.
Trying to get a push truck up behind the number 11 car.
You know, oh, we saw this at Knoxville where they didn't get back out.
Yep. The King is in a slump. He has been on the California swing. He is again here at I-80 Speedway. Was on the pole, had a great shot at winning it, but no longer. But boy, does this ever help Danny Lasowski, Mark Kinzer, Donnie Schatz, Joyce Saldana, the cars behind him.
Okay, we've got a yellow.
Oh, my.
I was going to say what Steve Kinzer needs is a yellow similar to Knoxville, that if they didn't like the lineup or somebody would spin, the yellow comes out, he can be back up. But, you know, in his defense at Knoxville, they said that there were guys still working on his car as the reason they didn't get pushed off. Yep. Well, most mechanics will work on that car until the very last minute. I mean, they'll still be moving and fine-tuning or tightening things. Doesn't mean they weren't ready to go just because the guys are still tinkering and fine-tuning.
And the crowd here responds to Kinzer being pushed off. There you see all the oil out of the quick change rear end.
There's the gears right there.
Yep. The bearings, actually.
Oh, it did. That was the bearings. I think you're right, Steve. So it probably knocked the bearings out of the rear cover, so they just probably changed the whole rear cover, just replaced it.
And the fans here, they know. Kinzer, yeah, it'd be awful tough, if not impossible, to win it. There's only 4 laps down, I think, something like that. But what a show he's going to put on coming through the field, Bobby Gerald.
Well, crew chief Scott Gerken, what was going on there? Why the sudden need to change the quick change gears?
Well, I broke a couple of teeth off of the thing, and it just started clattering and everything, so we had to change them.
All right, so that was the reason that he comes in here. Steve Kinzer pointing at the rear end. We're going green.
With Steve Kinzer at the very tail of this pack. There are 26 laps remaining, and there is Danny Lasowski, the renewed Danny Lasowski.
But Mark Kinzer looks really fast at this point in the race. And again, they usually get faster and faster as the race goes on, but that's that tire battle we talked about. Mark Kinzer on the good years.
Mark with a Mopar, Lasowski with an aluminum version of a small block Chevrolet.
Saldana running third. Good run for him. He's also on Hoosiers.
Oh! Well, the 15 Donnie Schatz upside down, gets tagged by the 28 car.
And you know what? I don't think Schatz's car was hurt too bad until he got hit there by Brian Paulus, and you could see it knock the front wheels, the front axle out of that thing.
We were worried about having to fill at the end of this show. I don't think that's going to happen. For the first time tonight, the red flag is out for very obvious reasons. Not safe to proceed around this racetrack. But it only takes them a very few minutes to clean them up. It'll be interesting to see if Donnie Schatz will probably get this car back in. What do you think, Fred?
Yeah, it looks like the wing's not even hurt. It looks like the front axle possibly. If there's no frame damage, they might be able to shove a front axle in that thing and get back out, Steve.
A lot of bad luck for the cars starting up front. We'll be back to show you another look at the Donnie Schatz incident, and of course we'll try to finish this race with 24 laps remaining. Well, we've had a few stumbles and fumbles trying to get 6 laps completed of the A feature. Just moments away, Dave Argabright had a chance to catch up with a very frustrated but a very candid Donnie Schatz, who was running in 4th when he crashed.
Well, we're Donnie Schatz. Donnie, you say you're okay. What happened?
Oh, I just run down in there and spun out. I had a hard time staying on the bottom. My car was off the loose there. You know, the bottom's probably a little faster right there. I guess you win some, you lose some, and you crash some. And tonight it was a crash for us.
How badly is the car hurt?
That car's junk. There's nothing left of it. It moved the front end over probably a foot. Got into the radiator. It's pretty well tore up.
What we didn't see in our live shot was Hodnett hitting him. By the time we got there, all we saw was Paulus. I didn't realize, and boy, yeah, that hit from Hodnett was severe, and these cars aren't built to take a hit sideways like that. It does shut the frame right over, and Hodnett, it probably did a little damage to his, but a head-on shot like that, you know, maybe they were able to fix it under red. He might be okay, but it was a hard hit.
Was indeed. The Vibrant car went in for a little work. The 11H machine back out again. Brian Paulus was having a good night. There's a kid that runs on a real tight budget. Certainly didn't need that aggravation, but that's all part of this thing. If you're afraid of crashing, don't run with the Outlaws. Bobby Gerald?
Let's give you some quick notes here on everything that went down. First, we'll start with Andy Hillenberg, the black number 2, who is running right now near the top of the field. They changed gears during that long red flag. The number 83 of Danny Lasowski, your race leader, having problems with his helmet fogging up. It's so cold, he said his hot breath is getting up under the visor. He's added some tape to try to remedy that situation. And Tim Schaefer just had a problem with the rear end.
Here we go, an old hot breath Danny Lasowski goes up high.
You know, that's some of the things that people don't think about, Steve, unless you've driven one of these race cars. is running at these speeds with tear-offs on, the thick plastic shield, and then they have fog. I mean, it's just like your windshield fogs up and you can't see anything. And boy, it gets pretty nerve-wracking out there when you're running at these speeds and actually can't see very well.
On board with Johnny Herrera, our ace cameraman. Well, he was an ace cameraman until that happened. You'd think with all of the chemicals available today, there'd be some kind of coating you could put on. Here comes Steve Kinzer, who on the restart was like 26th and has already moved up a number of positions.
There are some things that they try to use, Steve, but nothing seems to really work to keep on when it's really cold like this, to keep the shield from fogging up.
21 laps remain. Out front, Danny Lasowski, Chevrolet powered.
Boy, before this red, Mark Kinzer looked like he was catching him and pretty fast. Danny on the bottom there is getting away from him, Steve.
But usually, his car owner and tuner, Carl Kinzer, he loves those reds. He gives him a chance to fine-tune the car. That's how they won the Knoxville Nationals.
Man, you see Hodenshield there.
Yep.
About 3 wide and went to the outside. But again, it's so far around there. He did get around Wood, but there's Darren Pittman. Now he's going to have to turn it and try to go to the end. Well, he didn't get a run like I thought he would. He's going to go to the outside going into 3 again.
Colors and numbers, boys. That's the 22 car, the gaily painted, flamed Howden-Child car. Howden-Shield car. 11 laps are down.
Jacobs in the 8. Yeah, there Jason Myers in the 14 got a good run. He read for, oh, look at that. Mark Kinzer passes Danny. What a great job by Danny. He turned the car. Steve drove down off the bottom, got that moisture. What a nice move. There's Pittman in front of him, though. He's going to get squeezed, I'm afraid, going into 1.
Yep, it's how you manage traffic from this point on that's going to make the difference. They go by Pittman, his onboard camera. Danny Lasowski got the lead back from Mark. Joyce Saldana runs 3rd. Hillenberg 4th. Sammy 5th. Stevie Smith 6th. Greg Hodnett 7th. Delansky 8th. Brooke Tatnell 9th. Dale Blaney 10th.
Boy, Lasowski, what a nice move. When he went to the top like that and turned it and just drove the car down off the bottom, was able to get away from Mark. Now he's got all this lap traffic.
That's for 3rd and 4th right there. Andy Hillenberg, the black car. The 17 car of Saldana.
But Sammy Swindell, who started 14th, is up to 5th spot. Nice run for him from the back. These guys, that's a long way to go.
Well, let's remember, he is the defending champion here at I-80 Speedway of this race. He won Friday and Saturday last year. Last night he's won trying to duplicate that feat from just a year ago.
Now Lasowski's been running the bottom in 3 and 4. There he goes back to the bottom. So does Mark Kinzer. But they're going to go. Oh, we got the car spun right in front of the leaders down in turn 4. Dean Jacobs right in front of the leaders. But they're running the bottom in 3 and 4. There's still some moisture down there, but they're going around the top.
And they had just passed the halfway point when Dean Jacobs brought out the yellow flag yet again. This entire weekend, Thursday, Friday, and most of Saturday has run basically green checker, green checker, green checker until this A feature. And that just tells you there's a lot of guys out there that want to go faster than they have.
Well, that and the money's up tonight. The big money's up tonight, and they're all trying a little bit hard. And but you know, I just noticed something, Steve, under this yellow. The leader, Danny Lasowski's driving around the top of the racetrack, clear up in the wet moisture, trying to cool his tires off.
He's got dude, hot breath but cool tires.
Yep. Well, he's got that soft tire we talked about. That he elected to go with a soft tire, and when a soft tire gets too hot, it starts losing traction. It just wants to spin. It gets real gummy and just sits on top of the track. And he's been driving up there, getting up in that cushion, trying to cool those tires off.
What about it, Bobby Joe?
Mark Ellis, his crew chief, just giving some instructions to Danny Lasowski. What were you telling him?
Yeah, he looks like he's running better down there in 3 and 4, so we're going to get him back down the bottom. Lap traffic, he's doing all right, but Mark's coming, so we'll see what happens.
You put the softer 12 compound on. How's that holding up?
Yeah, for Danny, it'll be all right.
Okay, Danny Lasowski, when he says for Danny, I'm sure, Brad, he means that Danny's a driver that doesn't abuse the tire very much.
That's exactly right. He runs the bottom. He runs the car real straight. There he is up in that wet stuff, cooling those tires down, trying to get him, get a good restart. But exactly, he runs the car real straight. He's real easy on and off the throttle.
We've talked about a lot of the young drivers tonight, trying to showcase them, and we talked a little bit about the Come Out Support Series. Well, here's how the points line up there, and they've had some fantastic racing with Craig Delansky and Jeff Shepard, a lot of guys you've seen tonight, all of them. Paul McMahon and Jason Myers. It is the first year of that program. It is an overwhelming success.
Head-ups for different racetracks, and they come out here and they are fast.
Well, Delansky. showing tonight. Here we go. We're going to restart this beauty one more time. Lasowski with Mark Kinzer. Head on it. The Mopar has plenty of beans.
But again, maybe those soft Hoosiers of Lasowski enabled him to get a good restart and get away from Mark, but Mark's closing back in again.
Well, so often Carl Kinzer sent the car up to let the track come to him and the race come to him, and that might be the case right now. But I tell you, you can win it on sheer guts. The dude can't be beat.
Heck of a battle there. Sammy Swindell, Joey Saldana. You saw Joey slide up a little bit. Sammy turned it and tried to get back under him, and there he does, going into turn one. Oh, and the pass for the lead. Mark Kinzer has passed Lasowski. Oh, but he's going to slide up. Lasowski's going to get right back by out of turn.
Whoa, baby. The dude fans are going nuts.
What happened there, Steve, was that Mark Kinzer passed him down the back straightaway, got to run. Danny, who had been running the top the whole time, passed him back on the bottom, but then went to the middle to the bottom down in 1 and 2 instead of going that long way around the top of the cushion.
19 laps are down.
Okay, now Danny's got his momentum back up. He feels like, well, I'm fast in the speed up. I'll get back on the top.
As we said before, Danny had a great start early in the season, then hit a really flat part of the season, and is coming back. He's had 2 inches recently.
This is for 5th and 6th spot right here between Saldana and Sammy. Sammy Swindell in the white, or the blue number 1. Saldana in the white 17. Heck of a battle there, but Sammy's gotten by and put some daylight between here and there. That car on the bottom.
Well, Sammy's also trying to score enough points to close in on Mark Kinzer for 2nd in the series point standings, and right now that's not looking very good.
Yeah, they've been battling back and forth. Sammy Swindell and Mark passing each other for that 2nd spot. There's Dale Blaney on the bottom.
In fact, I'm not sure that a win tonight by Lasowski might not move him past Swindell into the 3rd spot. He's in 4th right now. It'd be pretty close.
Yeah, there was only like 50 or 60 points, I believe, separating them.
Let's go back up front.
Here it is again, lap traffic. Again, no rear view mirrors in these cars, no radios, nobody telling them where to run, what to do. And it just it's awful nerve-wracking because you have to make something happen. You hesitate, lift that throttle, or get pinched a little bit too sideways, and somebody can drive right by you.
This could be one of the great finishes of the year between the 5M car, the Mopar machine. Missouri's Danny Lasowski.
Oh boy, and this isn't what you want to see as a later. Cars running side by side in your groove on the top.
But you better find another groove. It's pretty simple.
Now that was what Danny needed to do. He got by Laney there off the bottom. Drove in really hard in the bottom. He slid way up on the cushion there.
And you can see how hard those tires were slipping, how hard they were spinning, even the left rear.
Yep, and what you don't want to do that a lot. We've talked about it. You run the car too sideways or slide all the way up across the racetrack, and that heats those tires up.
3 laps away from victory is Danny Lasowski. Chris, the family looking on.
Oh, man,
whoa.
look at all the lap cars. Oh!
Danny, be careful.
Hodnett pinched him a little bit there, but did see him and moved up. Boy, there you can see Mark Kinzer right there to the left of your screen.
Lurking.
He's got his wing pulled back. The car has gotten looser. He's pulled that wing back, but right now, Danny's got this thing in hand if he can just stay out of trouble.
Danny right now redefines the old saying, elbows up.
Oh, and boy, just rooted right in there and very aggressive. His white flag's out, but that's what he had to do. He couldn't take a chance there with Tim Schaefer. I'm leading this race. You got to move for me. He stuck the right there, and Schaefer did get out of his way.
Boy, he won the Gold Cup last weekend in Chico, California for the first ever time.
And on a little racetrack, Danny himself, I tell you, usually doesn't do very well, and he turns around and wins on a big half mile.
There it is, the checkered flag for Downey the Dude Lasowski.
6 wins in a row for Hoosier Tires. Man, they've got to be pumped up. Looks like they're going to win the championship. They're leading the Gumout Series.
The 1998 Knoxville Nationals champion has won on this great big half mile in a cornfield in Nebraska. All right, we're going to take a break, mainly because we need to take a breath. What a tremendous A feature, worth the wait. We'll be back. Tonight's spectacular action here on TNN has been brought to you by Mopar. Parts for Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep vehicles from the dealerships that sell and install them. Let's take a look officially at the top 10 of the A feature from tonight's Circuit City Shootout. Danny Lasowski, what a gutsy drive. Mark Kinzer there all the way. Andy Hillenberg, Sammy Swindell. Sammy came way up to 4th. Stevie Smith, Craig Delancey, Jack Houdenschau came from like 19th to 8th, something like that. Paul McMahon and Joey Saldana. Let's go down to Dave Argabright. Our regards to the dude.
Well, I'm with the dude. First, I want to shake that hand. That was a fine drive. Now, let me ask you, you were on a softer tire. Were you concerned with all that traffic of having to abuse it?
Well, we talked about it, and if I kept the car nice and straight, it would be fine. So it was a gamble we took. We knew starting on the front row that if I kept the car straight, we could keep it under us, and I seen it run better with softer tires.
Were you concerned with that red that Mark Kinzer, Carl Kinzer, his crew chief, would be able to improve his car?
Well, you know, the percentages are with Carl Kinzer. Every time there's a red, he definitely makes improvements. But I'll tell you what, Dennis Ross put a great team together here, and these Beef Packer guys never gave up. The Hoosier tires, Bob Westphal built us a new engine, and those new super purple shocks, they seem to tune this thing to the ground. You know, we've been trying a bunch of stuff, and we couldn't be any happier. I think this is the second or third 20 grand to win a race. We won a couple in California and my Cardinals home state. Hey, we couldn't do it with all these guys, and we just appreciate it a lot.
Well, 3 straight 20 grand races. He's smiling. Bobby Gerald?
Mark Kinzer, 11 feature wins this year, but tonight second place is going to have to do. You tried, though. You tried awful hard. How tough was the dude tonight?
He was real tough. We got around him a couple of times, and I tried to take his line, and I'd miss my line, and he would get back around me. So, you know, he was setting a pretty good pace, and we could keep pace with him, and he's doing a real good job in lap traffic. There at one time, I think he passed 4 cars in one straightaway, and I had to pick him off one at a time to reel him back in. But, you know, the Mopar team done a real good job. Ray Williams, Phil Durst, all the guys that's helped me all year long. Thanks a lot.
Mark Kinzer happy with a second place finish tonight, Steve.
You know, guys, it's time to recognize the driver earning the Hot Move of the Race Award presented by Luxair, the official heating and air conditioning supplier to the World of Outlaws. The Luxair Hot Move of the Race Award is presented during each televised World of Outlaws event to the driver who makes the hottest move during the hottest parts of the race. And this has got to go to
Daniel Lisowski in traffic right there. He did what he had to do, got under Schaefer. When you're leading a race, man, you just sometimes you have to move people. He never touched him, but he let him know he was there, and Schaefer moved out of his way.
Just a terrific fight between the Mopar car and Daniel Lisowski. How much fun. And as cold as it is, look how many of the fans are not headed for their cars. Well, some are. They're headed into the infield to talk to the guys, to get autographs, to get up closer to the machines. And that's what all of this is about. You know, for all of us, I'm Steve Evans and Brad Doty, Dave Argabright, and Bobby Gerald. We're so glad you could be with us here at I-80 Speedway. And for more racing information and all the behind-the-scenes stories, you can always go to TNNonline.com.